Welcome. This is the Pod and Deliver podcast. I'm Jacob Aguilar, and my co-host is. It's you. It's your
My
turn.
name is Ruben Aguilar.
And today we have Ms. Benn. And today's topic is distant learning. And before we get there, we're going to talk about a couple things with our guest. Ms. Benn, thank you for being here.
Sure, for sure.
And you know what? I know you just recently got married, right? Has it been a year and a half? How long has that been?
It's been a year and a half.
Has that been like what's the biggest thing that's been the biggest challenge or biggest surprise being married? Like what's if you want to share?
Sure. No, well, imagine getting married for the first time at 47 and having 3 boys.
There's no lying in this show. Go ahead.
Oh my goodness. So I would say, I knew this would come, but just adjusting to a lot less leisure time but it's been really, really joyful. And what's the biggest surprise? Gosh, that's, I would say my husband's, how do I say it? Just his, demeanor. He is such a more calm person than I am. And I never knew what a space cadet I was really, really until I was married to him. And I was like, his way of living is a little more healthy. So that's been probably my biggest surprise.
I thought you were going to say he puts the toothpaste, he pushes it from the top.
Luckily he's not. I'm like, thank you. He's not crazy like that. So no.
That's amazing that because Jacob mentions the surprise. I'm sure it was enough of a surprise to deal with this pandemic, that you just had a few months, right? And then.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, it was trial by fire. It really was. But you know what? That ended up being a blessing because I was able to spend more time with the boys right early on, regular time, because I had to, they were at home, I was at home. So that ended up being a blessing.
Oh, good. Looking at your, education background, how many years have you been teaching now?
This is 20. This is year 20.
20 years. So before this year, though, how would you describe your teaching experience? How would you describe being in the classroom?
I've always enjoyed teaching time in the classroom, but a weakness of mine is technology I've never been very comfortable with. So that's been a radical change. It's been good for me, uncomfortable, but good for me. Yeah.
I might have missed it. What do you teach, Miss Benn?
Oh, no, sure. I teach world history. Through the years I've taught, I taught U.S. history for probably 18 of my 20 years, and world history. I also taught government and economics and AP European. But now I'm just doing honors and regular 10th grade world history.
Nice. And then when you started, part of our show here is we kind of look at like mentoring and teaching, coaching, not the whole gamut. As you were going, first year or two in the classroom, was there somebody that was there for you, that mentored you, that guided you? Because I know I can remember the mentors in my mind that I'm thinking back now, like, wow, I don't think I could have made it without these people. Do you remember people like that and what kind of things, if you can remember one piece of advice they might have given you?
Definitely. I am a huge fan of teacher coaches, academic, coaches. Oh my goodness. I still value them so much because I think they come up with the amazing, rigorous lessons that's not my gifting. Lesson planning is not my gifting. I always feel like if you give me a quality lesson, I can run with it with the best of them, but developing, that's not my strength. And I think one thing, she wasn't a teacher coach and we weren't super close, but I remember a teacher, I think it was my second year, and it was like her 40th year teaching. And she was a respected English teacher on campus. And I asked her, I go, does it ever get easier? And she goes, not really. And that really stuck with me. And that's okay. Our job is always challenging, but it's not, but it also because of that, it's not boring. So, but that really stuck with me.
Do you sense, because I think you have a perspective on this, because I've been teaching roughly a few years less, but, around 20 years for me, but do you sense a change in the students? Like Now, it could be positive, could be negative, but do you sense the students changing?
Well, yes, I do, but one of the things I think is probably more just specific to where we work, and another one is probably more general. And this is, it may not sound, I don't know, politically correct, but I want to say our school was more ghetto when I first started. It just seemed a little more.
Jake, Jake, you want to edit that last comment out, but you got it in the editing booth. Go on. Miss Benn.
Speak freely. Speak freely.
I love it. So that's one change. And then I would say, I could be wrong, but I want to say attention spans just due to technology.
Mm.
So, but that's okay.
Wow.
Things change and we have to keep up with it. But I try to be mindful as much as I can, of keeping the kids' attention and changing directions. And again, that I don't even know if that's fair, but I think that, you know what I mean? I would say attention spans. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that, as I look back too over the years regarding things that were kind of troubled me sometimes, or, maybe in the beginning it was like talking or gum, but then it got into phones, right? And everybody had a phone. And then what do I do with that? Now I'm thinking, how's it going to be when we get back? Is it going to be the same type of issues, or is it going to be, like you mentioned about attention span? That's interesting. I never thought about that has changed over the years as well, right? Maybe because of the phone being, in front of their faces all the time.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Now you being, home, I'm sorry, when you say something?
Go ahead. No, go on.
I was asking Ms. Ben that you being home this last year, you have children in the home, correct?
I do.
And your children, what has been like a challenging thing for them being, having to do school? I'm not sure what their situation. Are they homeschooled? Are they?
Yes, we have a unique situation. We're really, really fortunate. For them, the first 3 months COVID hit. So last school year. So when COVID first hit, they were at home the whole time. I was teaching online the whole time. That was intense. But we're very fortunate this year. They've been back at school full time in the classroom. So I know that's unique. But still, having said that, my youngest son, CJ, he, if I'm, I can tell if I spend too many hours on the computer working, he doesn't like it.
Yeah. So he's looking for attention. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. And he's just a normal 9-year-old. Yeah, but yeah, definitely.
Wow. Yeah. Now, how about for yourself though? I mean, you are, like you just mentioned, you're 9-year-old. Are there other things that have been a challenge to even get yourself set up? I mean, like I have this I'm very fortunate. I have an office. I think Ruben has his own room there. And so have you been able to find a space for you to do your thing?
Oh, that's funny that you say. I actually, our place is 1,400 square feet, and we've got us, 3 kids, etc. So no, I'm in my master bedroom. This is where I teach, and it's so funny because I'm constantly making sure my bed is not showing in the back, and sometimes I do by accident tilt it. I'm like, oh my gosh, but so that's been challenging. But the biggest thing has been physically. I mean, probably my own lack of discipline. I'm sure many of us have gained weight. Yeah, I saw a number on the scale I've never seen before, but that's also, but also sitting. I've never in my life, like so many of us, sat this much in my life. And I have been shocked how much pain, like intense pain that my body has been in. So my husband just got me a stand so that I can be standing when I'm teaching. Not that I have to stand the whole time, but just I have been sitting way too much, and it has taken a massive toll on my body.
So this sounds like a good segue to talk about online learning, right?
Yeah.
So because this is a good thing. This is something that I've been thinking about because you're mentioning sitting for long periods of time, screen time, the physical impact. So how many minutes are you supposed to go? Now, do you two teach at the same school, Southgate?
Yes.
Okay. Was I supposed to say that? I don't know. You can edit it out. But how many minutes minimum are you supposed to teach online per class?
Oh, I believe it's 40 minutes, right? Minimum, I believe. Is that correct, Ms.
I
Ben?
think that's
And then
right.
And then what's the maximum?
classes are 70 minutes long on a normal day.
So, Miss Ben, how long do you go?
On the normal days that Jacob's talking about, I don't always, but I usually try to let the kids go after 60 minutes.
Okay.
You know, yeah.
That's a little more than me. I actually do 50. That's where I go, okay. Although I have a little time after class where I make myself available to them. But
Yeah.
I'm not sure about you, Miss Ben, but I'm more exhausted this year than I normally am. But maybe because I'm getting older. Maybe that's what
No, no, it's for sure, for sure. In fact, that's something too as a parent, and I don't know, about you guys, but I feel guilty because it's like I, and not being used to our generation, we didn't grow up with this much screen time at all. And so I find it so draining. And I mean, I like 3 o'clock comes, and I am done. Like I have no energy to talk, to converse. So, I mean, yeah, I agree. I agree. It is more exhausting.
I'm realizing that definitely I think I'm in the minority here. and I'm in a subcategory, I think, of another way, because we go between 30 and 80. They give us 30-minute minimum, 80-minute is the class maximum. And I am willing now to let kids go right away.
Really?
I've turned over a new leaf last week, and I'm realizing, you know what? I'm going to spend 40 or 50 minutes maybe with the kids who aren't submitting assignments or don't have their camera on, and I'm willing to let go the students who are on point after 15 minutes, if need be.
Oh,
Because why am I keeping these kids?
Sure.
I don't like staying in a meeting. Like you say, it's draining, and I'm thinking, why am I keeping this kid who's submitted excellent work? And I'm going to send messages to these other kids because it's starting to take the toll on me. I'm thinking, what about these other students? What about these students who are feeling it?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think
I've really changed in that regard.
no, I mean, I can understand what you're saying. I think you guys probably would agree that I think students are looking at this a lot different. I have students who love being on. I have a lot of students who want to be back at school, but I have
Yes.
both. I'm not sure if you guys have both or you have more than the
You
other.
have kids that love being on?
I have a couple who told me,
I don't. I don't have any kids who love, maybe one who likes talking to me, but
there's
I
a
don't have that.
real. How about you, Miss Ben? Do you have you asked that question or have you shared that with you?
I have, and like, yeah, I basically kind of like Ruben was saying, I only have a handful of kids that prefer the online, and I want to say more of the ones who say that are the honors kids. I think they're very self-directed,
Yeah.
but I would say the lion's share want to go back in the classroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and just to put a finer point on it, what I had been doing is building culture, because that's what at our school we encourage that. We do that on the physical campus, but we do breakout rooms where they talk to each other, and then we come back. I might have an extended question or an essential question where they can discuss, and we can I have nixed all that. We go right to the lesson, and I will dismiss students, bring the class down to 3 or 4, and the students who need that extra support, that's who will stay. And it's working, at least after a week. We'll keep going.
I think that's great. It's working at your school. I know for Miss Ben and Miss Ben, correct me if I'm wrong here. I think at our school, they, of course, promote the social learning in the classroom, the being sensitive, the whole culture piece, which is, and I think I know Ms. Ban, they always talk, I mean, that's one reason why we have you here, because, you're very well loved at our school. And so that being said, I think that piece is happening within most of the classrooms, but I think what's another message is being shared with us is that, hey, we still want you to do this much. I mean, we still want to see this in the classroom. We want to see these activities happening. We want to see, we want to be able to see we call them a SOAR board, that this is like your standard, your objective, your activity, your reflective question. And so they want to see the whole lesson, like kind of like what they would see in the classroom in a way. But I would say what you're saying, Ruben, I would agree that it's very difficult to do it exactly like how we used to do it. And so we have to be very creative. And I think, Ms. Benn, you would probably agree that we've probably learned so many platforms this last year. And I'm not a big technology guy either, like you. But am I correct on that, Ms. Benn, that I feel like there's more expected of us maybe than just, the social piece?
Oh yeah. I do. And of course, it just so happens for our school to be, I think it's next year is a WASC accreditation. So yeah, there's a lot right now.
Yeah. So that's piece is coming down. So yeah, there's those expectations on us, I believe. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
But I think, if we could, if we had more of a, and I think your situation might be a little different, Ruben, but I think if they gave us that opportunity to kind of structure our own class, yeah, I think we would probably do things a little differently. Because I think we know our kids, we know what they need. I know sometimes my kids I feel like sometimes I tell them, one day we're just going to do music. Like we're just going to, let's go outside. I'm going to take the computer outside, So I've done little things like that, but just because it just breaks the monotony, and it's tough being sitting in front of and they're sitting, they're hitting 6 teachers, right? Or 5 teachers. So.
Yeah, that's just crazy.
So what are some of these requirements that you have to teach besides the content?
Well, it's the content. I mean, that's it. I mean, they want to see the content, and they want to.
So that's what I'm saying is the content is what I don't. That was my point. Is I just teach the content now, not the other stuff like the social dynamic, breakout rooms, having discussions or with the. Building the culture.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So you just do the content, you don't do the other piece. I misunderstood you. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, I think they're both being promoted where we work, and I see the importance, though, of the social piece, to tell you the truth, because of how, like you mentioned, Ruben, that you don't know too many kids who are enjoying the distant learning experience. So that being said, I feel like it's we should address it as much as we can. No, I mean. To see just check in where they're at. But how do you check where they're at?
Well, no, that's.
Ms. Benn, when you say, I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to say that, it's a give and take. And I think all of us still, even at this part, are still trying new things like you are, Ruben, and going, let me try this, to see, because believe me, yeah.
Maybe that's the whole
Go
thing.
on. I'm sorry.
No, I'm going to say maybe that's where your savings Ben is it's also the time piece, right? I mean, if you're, yes, we have to do like 40 to, let's say, 70 minutes. That's our window. But you have to throw in a lot of, after a while, after 10 minutes, I realized, oh my gosh, I got to get going. I've already done the social piece. I better get back to the lesson,
Right.
Managing your time too has been a new, challenge for me as well with that.
You know what? I've really been influenced by YouTube, and in a positive way, I think, because I was watching this one channel, and they posed a question that I think was very relevant, and they said, when you learn on YouTube, don't you want the content creator to get to the point and not the preamble? And I asked myself that question, and it was yes, I do. I don't want the preamble. And so I asked, what if I were a student? What would I want? So when I posed it, I gave the open-ended question to my students. Is it okay if we skip this? Yes, get to the point. They all almost unanimously said, get to the carne, stop with the tortillas and the chips. Let's get to it. And I felt that it had more bang for my buck because I kept the kids who weren't submitting, who had 1,000 questions. And so to me, it was like, oh, I'm going to keep doing this. And the TA really responded to it as well. So
I think if it works, and plus you have support from the administrators. And I think even for our school, there's definitely support for us to do both. But to minimize it, I mean, there's a point there. Maybe we are going the other direction now. Maybe we are going overboard. That's a good, I haven't even thought about that. I haven't even asked that to my students. So now that you're sharing that, maybe that'll be one of our little questions next week. Am I going too far here, guys?
That's a good point.
Right. But Miss Benn, regarding just even with distant learning, and what do you think's been I mean, for you, what's been the most challenging to do this? I mean, you're not at school. You know, the administration is, they're there, but it's a different type of them being there. The students are there and it's different. What has been to you this last year been the most challenging thing? And may also tag that along. What do you look forward to after this year?
I would say lack of motivation from the students, and I can't blame them. I mean, right? We think about when we were teenagers, especially, you know, and we've said to them several times in class, you know, guys, we're adults and we've all been in Zoom classes, you know, college classes, and we have the screen off and nobody can hear us. And I've fallen asleep. My teaching assistant has fallen asleep. You know, I mean, we're adult educators. So, you know, I can only imagine. Interestingly enough, I feel like I've got good kids this year. You know, they're good kids, but they're just not motivated. And I mean, I'm sure you guys have experienced this. I mean, the fail rate is staggering, and it just, that's been my biggest challenge for sure. Yeah.
So your fail rate has gone up.
School, not just, yeah, it's been,
Right. Yeah.
and it's
And-
very blurry.
Yeah.
And I think it is, like Ben said, a lot of it has to do with the situation they're in. And I think that the district understands it, but I think they made some, in my personal opinion, trying to deal with it, some ways of doing it they haven't always thought it out. I don't think we're going to address it. And I don't want to get totally into it, but I'm sure it's been in the newspaper regarding just having to deal with the D's and F's. You know, what do we do with that? Do we fail? Do we give them more time? And we have given them more time. Even this weekend, I have a lot to grade of these kids who turned in projects for them to get a D or F for last semester. So I'm
jeez.
And I'm not the only teacher at my school, right, Miss Benn? It's just that's the game, and the whole.
It's so I don't know how else to describe it. It's soul sucking to grade things that are that old because it's not quality. And I tell this to my students. I don't want to grade your late work, not because I want to penalize you, but because it's not quality work. You're relying on memory of 3 weeks ago.
What I did,
I'm not there.
Right.
It's just not good. I have to explain this to them.
Yeah. What I decided to do, though, Ruben, was to create projects instead of work that they missed. I said, forget that. We're done. I'm gonna give you some projects to do in place of that work you missed, and that seems to have worked. But not all the kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say most of the kids have not taken. But there's about 25% that took it on. So
I would definitely do what you're doing as opposed to just going back. Given the fail rate and the struggle for certain students to submit, the lack of motivation, is there something, though, is there a silver lining, something that has been good from the online learning or that you would take back to the physical classroom?
Or whenever we go back, yeah.
I would honestly, what's been a huge blessing to me, again, incredibly uncomfortable, but the big growth rate for technology, because again, that's just not my comfort. So that's been a real blessing, honestly. Yes. Yeah. I wouldn't have chose it, but I'm grateful for it.
Anything specifically?
You know what it is that with technology, I'm always afraid, like I'm afraid I'm going to explode the computer or something. I don't know, or lose everything, whatever it might be. And honestly, what's been a blessing, and to me, I always feel like every program is so different and I've got to learn all the idiosyncrasies of each program. And what I've realized as I've been forced to deal with, I think Mr. Aguilar touched on the fact that we've had so many platforms introduced to us that you start to get the general vibe of how technology works in all of them. Again, it doesn't always transfer over, but so I think just getting over my discomfort and not being so afraid and also not doubting myself so much. I always feel like, okay, am I doing this right? And I think that's all been, I don't know if that's specific enough, but that's what I would say.
No, I think so. I mean, I feel the same way. I would say I've never done any of these platforms. I was actually surprised that they were there. I'm thinking that they had already planned, and I'm not trying to be conspiracy theory at all. But I
Sure.
had a lot of they were working on all these platforms for something that they might have been doing in 5 years from now, but
No.
speed up the process because of this whole COVID, and said, "Woo, we got to bring it forward and bring these platforms to the teachers to help them out." And a couple of them, I know I'm going to use again, right? I mean, like Nearpod's great. I'm not sure if I probably use aspects of it.
Sure.
But there's other things like Padlet that's kind of fun for the kids to, get the kids engaged in the beginning of the lesson. And so there are things that definitely I know I'm going to bring in. But I'm like this, Ben. I'm just still just kind of like it frightens me at the same time. But I feel encouraged that at least I learned some things this year, right? I mean, I feel like I probably learned more this year than I ever have in my career regarding new pieces to bring into the classroom, right?
That's great. Yes. Yes. That's positive. Yes.
Yeah, it is. And how about for yourself, though, Miss Ben? What do you how do you feel about coming back? Is there anything that you feel like needs to happen before that day happens? I mean, regarding the school, do you feel like it needs to be a place that has a little bit more? And this is kind of a deep question, and I know this is tough. And I kind of was talking to a group of people this week, and it's kind of a little uncomfortable. So if you feel like you don't want to answer, it's fine. But just like I know some people will say, hey, I'm not going to go back unless there's only 10 desks in my room, or if there's a fountain outside the door where I could wash my hands. And I understand that. But are there things that you feel like, hey, I need that to happen so I could feel comfortable to go back? Do you have any like stipulations?
You know what's funny is, and this probably gets into a little bit of, no matter which way you fall politically, it's almost like, you can walk down the street and tell if people are more, which way they fall politically just by how they're reacting to COVID, which is so, silly, I guess. I don't know what to say. There's no judgment, but
Right.
I honestly, you could put me back in the classroom with 40 kids again. I'm fine. I'm like, I always feel like, it's, I've always felt,
Energy. No,
yeah, I mean, I just,
being honest
yeah,
though.
yeah,
No, that's I mean, I feel the same way.
yeah,
Although you know that there's colleagues that don't feel that way, and I'm sensitive to that. So I understand, hey, you know what? If we could do that, let's do what needs to happen to make you feel comfortable to come back and safe and all that. But I do know we're not the minority. I think there are other teachers out there who say, I just want to go back to work. I just,
yeah, yes. And the kids too. Yes.
did want to go back to school. And like we said, that's the minority who want to stay on. And we see that, I'm sorry.
Do you, do you think that it's going to be a slow rollout for the teachers and students who are uncomfortable? Maybe, instead of 40 students, you'll get 20, something like that?
I think it will be. I think it probably will be a slow rollout. I think it's a good way to say it. Yeah, that's what I predict. Yeah.
Cool. And I think and I used to think no, it won't happen until the fall, but I'm not sure anymore. It's like I'm seeing, just you start hearing things in the out there in the political world, where people who once were saying, oh no, we're going to stay in, are now saying, oh no, you guys are going to go back to work. So I'm thinking there's a lot of political pressure. I think that's going to happen. We might see that happen before June. At least a segment of our kids, maybe the elementary, middle school, we might be the last group, Miss Ben, because we teach high school. But
Sure.
so it might not be us till the fall. But
I remember you saying that it was going to happen in January. I remember you saying that the superintendent had said that, but now,
yeah, I think they were hoping. I think that was like a pie in the sky, maybe. But I think they plan on it. I think there's just different people who have different people of power that it's above our pay grade, right? Regarding who's making those decisions, right, Miss Ben? But I think that I think our schools are. I know I've been on campus, and man, my room is clean. Miss Ben, I'm not sure if you've been there, Miss Ben, but I don't think they went back and cleaned it a second time.
Wow.
And I've never had my room clean like that ever. So there's some positives there. That being said, I'm not a big fan of having 40, but I'm so used to it. Right, Miss Ben, we've had those numbers before. Math and English, not to be, not to, begrudge my fellow colleagues who teach math and English, but social studies and science seem to get the bigger classrooms. And we just live with it. We go with it. And so I don't see, like you said, I don't think it's going to be 40 right away. I think it's going to be, like Miss Ben said, it's going to be a slow rollout. We'll see how it goes. How about you at your school? Is it that the same, Ruben? Were you guys thinking about coming back slowly?
There's actually students at our school right now. Some students with SPED, who may need a little bit more support. We just sent them back last week, and there are parents who have requested it, and there's some legalities there, that may supersede some of the COVID things. And it makes me wonder that, are we on the precipice of something really good? And I know I have my own little cocoon at my school. It's kind of like a different animal, because we're an LAUSD charter school, but we get to do our own thing, kind of thing. But I can imagine maybe a system, or at least for a while, where you have just a small little school running there with just particular, teachers that want to be there, and students, and the rest online, and you get some kind of hybrid thing, and it almost like a test pilot thing, and it might be kind of nice, because we have 5,000 students at our school.
Wow.
It is jam packed, and it'd be kind of cool to be able to walk down the hallway without bumping into people, and getting your own class. I'm very selfish. Getting my own class, my own big, nice class.
That's social learning that I like to just, jump out of bed and get ready. And that's drive to my campus because I want to beat the traffic. All those things, oh man, I don't look forward to that type of stuff. But I do, and this is the weird part. I mean, I'm not trying to sound mushy, but I do feel like the kids need to be back. I feel like they're really suffering, most of them, and because of that, I'm willing to drive to school. But yeah, I mean, I think you're right though. We might see education be totally transformed in the next year. So, but that, I guess, because ending with that, Miss Ben, that question to you actually regarding, what do you see yourself in the next 5 years even? Like, do you see yourself still being in education with all this, what's happening? I know you're a new mother, you're a new wife, you have a new, whole life really. Do you see yourself still in this area? And if not, what do you think we might be doing?
Well, I think most likely I'll still be in education, and I love our school. So I as far as, I do, it just so happens I also love design, and I've loved that all the years that I've taught, and that's always been a desire to do that as well. Some sort of I've been designing greeting cards for almost 20 years, so sometimes I think about, now it's hard to replace your salary and we need it, but that is something that's always in the back of my mind.
Yeah, Ruben and I hope to do this for full time someday. No,
that's great. No, hey.
No, but we enjoyed this.
Judging by how often we do it, when it's down to like one a week, one every 2 weeks. I don't know if we're gonna be making $1 million anytime soon.
I could dream. No, but that's great. I didn't know that about you, Ms. Ben. But yeah, I think it's nice to have some type of creative outlet, and it looks like you have that. And I know Ruben and I are. And Ruben, I'm not sure if you know, he does comedy, and he does stand up, and I've done film and all that. So we find some type of outlet, right? I think everybody wants some type of outlet. But anyway, that's it for tonight. This week, I want to thank you, Ms. Ben, for being here with us.
Thank you.
You go.
And Mr. Aguilar,
thank you, Ms. Ben, and congratulations.
Oh, thank you for that, Ruben. I appreciate that. Yeah, very special. Mr. Aguilar, Jacob, you do film, you said?
No, at one time, my wife was in theater and film, and then I done some shorts, and this is years now. So that, and, videos and music videos and things like that. But so this, even being on the podcast has been just something to just be able to release and be able to have fun and goof around with my brother, and get to learn also from other teachers like yourself, other mentors, other groups. That's what this podcast is about, just to come to a place where there's a lot of people who have learned, but also learn from others as well. So that's
I love that. I love it. Well, thanks you guys. This has been fun.
Thanks for being here.